Well, Update 7 is finally here for Baldur's Gate 3, and in this video we're going to discuss exactly what is coming with this update. Spoiler alert, it's a new class. Larian Studios had been hinting at this for over a week now on their Twitter account, so it's not a big surprise, but it's the Barbarian, and it comes with its two subclasses, Berserker and Wild Heart. The Berserker allows you to grow your rage into a relentless frenzy and gain the ability to deal additional damage in the heat of battle. When you're filled with rage, you can use Improvised Weapons as a bonus action to do extra damage. This means that the Berserkers are going to get extra attacks because they're going to be able to use like a table leg or a chair or something to hit enemies with after their normal attack, allowing them to do even more damage in combat. The Wild Heart allows you to draw power from your bestial heart and wield ferocious combat abilities inspired by eagle, elk, tiger, bear, or wolf. And you also have unique facial piercings. These abilities are going to be inspired by these animals, so you're going to be able to use these in combat to great effect. Unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to go hands-on with the Barbarian just yet, so we don't know exactly how these are going to feel when we're playing them, but you can see from the footage that it looks fantastic, and it's going to be very, very exciting. It's nice to have another melee-focused character, and we'll see how it holds up against the other melee characters in terms of how it performs. I think it's really interesting that they chose Barbarian for this reveal. I think it's because of the focus on overhauling the combat in general. Not only are we getting a new hotbar that allows you to see things more clearly and move things around, which is fantastic. Should set the game a little bit more apart from DOS 2, I should say, even though it was starting to look more and more like its own thing. But that will give you flexibility as well. But there's also the focus on using improvised weapons, thrown weapons, and actually throwing characters and objects. So the Barbarian kind of fits perfectly into that, particularly with the ability of the Berserker being able to get a bonus action by using improvised weapons. It seems like they actually had to implement improvised weapons in order to make that work on the Barbarian, or Berserker rather. So, to elaborate on that, they have a new classification of weapon called thrown weapons, which are daggers, javelins, hand axes, and spears that do damage based on their stats rather than their weight. And Barbarians will begin the game with two hand axes in addition to their primary great axe weapon, so they're going to be able to throw their hand axes or, melee how they would normally melee. And also, it kind of elaborates a little bit on what you can do with improvised weapons. It says furniture, instruments, animals, limbs, and NPCs. So you can use NPCs to actually hit characters with. That's going to be interesting. Can't wait to see how that plays out. Also, hand in hand with this is expanded throw. Now you can throw objects or characters that weigh up to 3 times your strength's ability score. Imagine walking up to an NPC and just chucking them off a cliff. That sounds awesome. Or throwing them down a well, or throwing them into another enemy, or into a bunch of enemies. The applications of this are almost limitless. I expect people to be throwing. It makes the Barbarian like a really unique class, in my opinion. They're not the only ones that can throw, obviously, but they're going to have more of a focus on this probably than some other classes. And it's absolutely going to be a blast to see and play that class. Additionally, they've added more unique items to the game, 24 unique handcrafted magical items. They kind of name a couple here, which you can read if you want. These are probably one of the things that excites me most about Baldur's Gate is how these unique items will affect builds and gameplay. One of the things about DOS 2 is a lot of the gear was randomized, and the uniques were, in some cases, not as strong, or they were lower level than what you would be when you got there, so they weren't as strong as that, gold item you had or the pink item you had. So I'm really curious to see if you find, the right matchup of items, if you can make some crazy build that you wouldn't be able to make without them. And the fact that they keep adding more and more of these items is going to give us a glimpse into whether that's going to be the case or not. We'll, of course, have added a full list of these to the wiki as we plays through the early access again to find all these and add them to the game, as well as add all the Barbarian information. So if you're looking forward to that, make sure to check that out on the wiki if you wanted to see what there is. A couple other main takeaways from the patch notes are they implemented a new room portal system which conceals the details of characters and objects in closed off or unexplored rooms, which should make it feel more like you're dungeon delving. Like you don't know what's in the room around the corner because you can't see into it, so when you open it, you're going to find out what's in it. I feel like that's a huge element. Like, it's such a subtle point, but not being able to see what everything is going to make it feel like you're really exploring, and I really, really like that change. Coupled with that, there's also the improved detection of light and dark areas, so they've changed the way that lighting works. So you're going to see things a bit differently, and this obviously impacts dark vision, and dark vision is going to work a bit differently now. But I'm curious to see that because I didn't really like the way it was before. Like, it wasn't bad, but if they can really dial that in and make that like more of a feature, the way lighting works, I think it could make the game a little bit more immersive. And I think that's kind of what these changes are all about, is making the feeling a bit more immersive. There's also a lot of new animations added, dialogue added, sound effects added, cutscenes reworked. This is the stuff that we're really hoping for. These are probably I mean, the voice acting is phenomenal, but as far as the cutscenes go, they were a bit rough and tumble here and there. This is the stuff we want to see progress on, so we kind of get a closer idea of how this game is really going to look and play at launch. So it's good to see that they're doing those things. Other than that, there are a couple minor things here and there throughout the whole course of the game. I won't go into a full list of these because there just really aren't that huge of ones. Like last time we were talking about how advantages are removed from elevation. Now you only get +2. That's a massive change. There isn't anything, in my opinion, that's that massive, but you can see all the changes here on the screen. I'll just leave them up for you guys as we go through them so you can read through the full patch notes. There's a lot of bug fixes, a lot of tweaks to the game. This is what you love to see. That means we're getting closer to full release. I still expect this game to come out sometime later this year. That's my timeline, like fall, like maybe October or November. But I have not gotten any word, so hopefully we'll hear something about this soon. Go ahead and enjoy the patch notes. What do you guys think of this update? Are you guys excited to play the Barbarian? What next class would you like them to add? Let us know in the comments below.
Lace your heart with mine. Let your sleeping soul take flight. Take me through the night. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Hanging morning fog. Mist will lead where you belong. Sweep me on my feet. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Down, down, down by the river. Pinky amber, swirl and dance, Just let the flames take a chance to be with me tonight. Take my hand and hold it tight. 'Cause you and I are everywhere. The night is young. We go.